Does it work better with a new PC?
It does. And more importantly, if I have to reboot, it reboots in like 40 seconds.
Solid state drives.
Yeah, I've got like 750 gigabytes worth of solid state.
That's pretty cool.
It's like the only computer part that is still relatively cheap.
This music isn't nearly ominous enough.
I was digging it. I don't know.
I feel doomed. How about you?
This is part of the like 400 tracks I picked up in a Humble Bundle for free use in games and advertising and videos
I like
and all
it.
that stuff.
It does feel very ominous, though.
Yeah, it's I think the guy is under Dark Fantasy Studios,
Nice.
and there's just a variety of music. There's some ominous stuff, there's some more modern sounding stuff, some sci-fi sounding stuff. He's got a couple of tracks that are like very like Deadlandsy Western-ish.
Nice.
But yeah, it was like
Sorry about that, guys.
no problem.
That's okay.
Hey, no worries, bud.
But yeah, it was like 400 tracks for like $32 on the Humble Bundle.
Cool.
It can be challenging to find some good tone setting music for Deadlands.
Well, especially if you're streaming, right? You want to make sure that the stuff that you're using you can actually stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Deadlands is a game I think that really benefits from setting the tone.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Anita apparently dropped it.
Welcome back.
Can't go back to university with a dropout attitude like that.
My cables were all tangled.
Oh.
Mm.
Alrighty, so as is usual with our games, time has passed since your last adventure. You're now getting into what should ostensibly be spring, but the cold weather does not seem to be letting up. This is, of course, causing a great deal of hardship because this is the time of year when people start looking to start planting some of their early crops and not be as reliant upon coal and firewood and the like. So as a result, the prices on certain items are starting to go up, and people are truly starting to suffer as a result. Over the last...
Just like real life.
Just like real life. Over the last couple of months, while you guys have continued to hone your skills as spellbinders and druids and rangers and fighters and warlocks, a couple of things have kind of popped up on your radar, or things that you have noticed. These are all potential adventure hubs. I just ask that you let me know enough ahead of time which one you would like to pursue so that I can prep it. So these ones that I've given you now are not going to be things you're doing tonight.
Okay.
But if you're like, oh, we should go check on the dwarves, and the party agrees, then the next adventure I will prep will be the visit to the dwarves. Just because Shadow of the Demon Lord is a great game, but it does require a fair amount of prep. It's not an off the cuff sort of thing. At least not until I get like everything inputted into Foundry as far as creatures and spells and items and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So the things that you've picked up, Bismarck, you noticed pretty much immediately after you guys defeated the demon in the sewers that one of the missing constellations returned to the sky.
Sure did.
So it's not difficult to deduce for somebody as skilled and knowledgeable as you are in the ways of astronomy that the missing constellations represent the heralds of the void, and they are probably walking the world.
That was the working theory anyway, I think.
It was, but now you've got proof necessarily, but definitely more evidence for your conjecture. Anything that is that powerful and that closely tied to the void will have a noticeable effect on the world.
Hence this big winter.
Entirely possible, yes. Ruthless. The Council of Druids, that are kind of like the higher ups in your religion, have very grave concerns about the length of the winter. Normally at this time of year, there's signs as the Queen of Summer begins to move back to what are her lands that she bequeaths to Old Man Winter for a time, and then she comes back to reclaim them, but she seems to be moving slower, if at all.
On an extended vacation.
Yes. So Old Man Winter, his grasp is holding the lands firm in the depths of winter. Thagor, you know that there's a clan of dwarves in the mountains just north of Bazazan. They've always been very gruff and standoffish, as dwarves tend to be, but they have recently completely sealed their borders. And since Bazazan is its primary industry is mining and smelting, this is a grave economic blow to the city.
Yeah.
And Sif, you've been doing great as a guide in the woods. There are numerous beasts preying on travelers. And it's not just monstrous creatures like you would expect. It's not just beastmen and trolls, the occasional giant, but even the natural animals. And it has gotten to the point where even small groups that are just going to like the edge of the forest to gather firewood are bringing armed escorts with them.
Yikes. Okay.
And Jinx will be joining us shortly when she gets off work, but she has come across some magical grimoires that indicate that when the time is right, when Earth, which is the name of the world, URTH, when it is properly prepared, essentially wrecked by war, famine, disease, and death, then the barriers between this world and the void will be broken.
Well, it's on the right track.
And yes, there is a brewing civil war throughout the Empire between the orcs who have claimed the throne and the various petty kingdoms that don't want to follow an orc. So the Empire to your west is in complete turmoil. It hasn't spilled over into Belgrindia yet, but that entire area, that entire country, for lack of a better term, is embroiled in a fairly strong war that is largely being held in check just by the fact that it's winter. Obviously, the longer the winter goes on, famine and disease both become an issue. And then all three of those things mean that the death toll starts to rise.
Yeah, no matter which way you slice it, it's not looking great.
Beyond that, one of the local lords, a fairly politically influential lord named Mirolav Havel, has sent for you. He has a small estate on the outskirts of Bazazan. Bismarck, with your heraldry,
Hey!
you know that he's a fairly for a lord, he's very unassuming. He still keeps in touch with the common folk, as it were. He likes to make sure that his direct subjects are, taken care of as best as he can without, elevating them in their station. But the general consensus about him and his family is that he's one of the good ones. Beyond that, he is very politically influential, and having his patronage would probably open significant doors for you guys.
So he's got some clout.
He does have some clout. And anything beyond that, you can give me an intellect roll with a boon for your heraldry.
You guys made fun of my heraldry profession.
No, we only made fun of you making fun of your heraldry.
I don't
That's
remember
not
making
wrong.
fun of your heraldry. I remember you doing it. Absolutely.
I'm smart and stuff.
So as you're kind of thinking about it, Lord Havel is he kind of stands out because he took a commoner as his wife. One that was, uncommonly beautiful, to be sure. But the fact that he married a commoner did cause tongues to wag at some point.
All right.
But he is known to be kind of like a no nonsense, deals fairly with people sort of individual. He doesn't appreciate it when people try to lie or cheat, but at the same time he holds very strongly to his word of honor.
So he's like a paladin or something.
Yeah. Him and his wife have 3 children, and they live in a small estate outside of Basel.
All right, I'll share that with the group, of course.
Are we going to go
What
check this?
What does he want with us?
He wants to give us money. I hope.
Give us money.
Well, I expect that he probably has something that he probably wants us to do for said money, but that's perfectly okay. We're mercenaries, quote unquote mercenaries. That means we do things, people pay us, and eventually you get to purchase more food to keep your meat bag bodies going. And I'm one step closer from being able to purchase myself from my magician owner. Yes. All that is
Yes.
true.
How's that going?
Very, very poorly. Apparently, clockworks are extremely expensive, and we are not making very much money. You would think that returning a herald to the cosmos would be something that people would shower you with gold and gifts and accolades, but that does not seem to be the
Not
case.
so much.
No, mostly just smell of underground and swamp and foul. It is very difficult to get out of gears. Incidentally, you are lucky that you have your skin that you can wash, as opposed to this.
It does seem a bit sticky.
It's just surface areas are different. Anyway. It's fine. I'm just saying, if this lord is as honorable and wealthy as they say, hopefully we can get in his good graces and perhaps he could patron us, and we can continue to feed and house you people and
Be nice.
maybe I could have the opportunity to maybe not be stuck in a tower all the time with this idiot magician who I think I am smarter than already.
Well, I think
Man,
that
that makes sense.
anything we earn that we end up spending on things like food and sleeping, Bismarck should be able to tuck away for buying his freedom.
Is
So
the old
let's
man
go-
evil?
Mm,
Or
not
just a bad person?
I don't think he's evil or a bad person. Honestly, he's bought a clockwork. People buy clockwork. It's perfectly fine. I just I feel, and maybe this is just me, but I feel that perhaps I've surpassed his particular tutelage. Before long, he's going to just use me to teach him, and I mean, technically, I have to teach him since I'm his property. Yes, all that makes sense. All that is true.
I'll take your word for it.
yes.
But he's not a bad guy. I mean, we can't just execute him. I mean, he hasn't broken any laws. That's not. No.
It's always worth checking.
But it's a valid thing. I've thought about it a great deal. However, it would be immoral and unethical and quite illegal for us to assassinate Master Graith, I believe his name is. Hard to remember. He sleeps a lot. Honestly, you sleep a lot too, but regardless.
Yeah, his name is Stelvier.
I wasn't even close. Wow. Let me get my notes open.
Has he told you how much it's going to take? Or does he just keep telling you that it's very expensive?
Well, it's not necessarily something we talk about a great deal. Technically, I'm property, much like a table or a fireplace. I just assume that if we could come into a particular windfall of coinage, hopefully from this particular noble, then maybe I could go forward and say, hey, I would like to not have to deal with your nonsense anymore. Because he's not that bright. I mean, he's smarter than you, but he's not that bright.
Ouch.
That's not an insult. I'm just telling you the fact. Yes, all those things were true.
So you're hoping to buy your freedom from the not all that intelligent fellow so you can hang around with us idiots?
Technically, yes. However,
Okay. Just
my understanding is that the heralds, we talked about the heralds and the skies and the stars, they're not there anymore. And then we killed the demon, and one of them went back. I believe the heralds are in play, and I need you to assist me, or me to assist you, preferably, to maybe go find the rest of them and prevent the end of the world. I think that's important.
that does sound worthwhile. All of my
But-
things are here.
But it doesn't pay very much, and because it doesn't pay very much, that means that my master's not going to let me do this. I'm only allowed to come along with you guys because we're doing things that earn gold, which he takes most of. So
Well, maybe we'll get the chance to renegotiate along the way.
perhaps. Right. So we should be perhaps talking with this particular noble, who we're going to be very friendly to, because he's very rich and we need a lot of gold.
Certainly sounds like it.
Well, I'm game.
Let's see what he wants.
Sounds like a fair fellow. So treat him nicely and honorably, and give him his respect. He's earned it. Married a common girl for some reason, but whatever. Probably sleeps a lot. Thinks he can do that.
If it's any consolation, we don't really do it on purpose. Well, sometimes, but usually only if we're sick.
But you do it every day. Obviously, you do it on purpose.
Well, yes.
You're
Normally
a
at the
little
same
maybe
time.
too. You're a little maybe too obsessed with people sleeping.
Perhaps. I've been told that before. Well, shall we? Yeah, freedom awaits.
Yes. Let's go see what he'd like.
So you guys make your way to the estate, and it is a very nicely appointed, not ostentatious or anything of that nature. It looks like it's built with an eye towards functionality. And there's there's the main house. There's a guard house. There's probably 4 or 5 buildings overall that make up this estate within like a walled enclosure. And you can see that they are in the process of building a castle. There's, some stonework has been laid. There's some blocks in the process of being worked into the bricks and everything that would be necessary for a castle. So eventually down the road there will be a castle where this estate currently stands.
That seems ambitious, given the state of things locally.
Odds are he probably
just
started
it.
it before. But yes, there's a couple of guards at the gate to the estate. They kind of step in front of you as you approach. Like, hey, what's your business?
We
There's
were
no need for
called.
that.
Good, carry on.
We were called by the Lord to come in.
I see. Second. And he sends like his associate just kind of goes in to double check. It's like, then he kind of waves, and the guy that's been, kind of standing there keeping an eye on you says, very well.
All right. Sif starts going forward.
And you are led into the main manor house, where this middle-aged gentleman, short, kind of graying hair, and a very very beautiful middle-aged woman. You can tell definitely comes from common stock. She doesn't have any of those impurities that tend to show up in noble bloodlines. So the gentleman ushers you in, and it's a very nicely appointed kind of like sitting room. Again, though, nothing ostentatious. There's no like gold filigree or velvet pillows or anything of that nature. But it is comfortable and homey in a slightly larger than life way. Says, I'm glad you could agree to meet with me. I've heard tales of your adventures. I have some friends in the city that say that you helped deal with something that was preying on the less fortunate a few months back.
Yes, yes, we
So,
did.
I have a favor to ask, a well-paid favor, mind you. But I don't know if you would necessarily. I suppose you could call it a job. Regardless, my wife, Lissa, and myself, as you, I'm sure have heard, we're blessed with 3 children. Ori, Byron, and Vanessa. A few weeks ago, the 3 of them came down with a disease of some nature. Some of the local wise women said that it was the shuddering pox.
do I know anything about that?
You can give me an intellect roll. You don't have any sort of medicine or healer profession, do you?
It doesn't sound great, let me tell you.
It sounds
Not
highly
just druid
unpleasant.
stuff. I do. I mean, a healing power, but that's about it.
Okay, so just a straight up intellect roll.
Somebody else should probably make this roll.
Can I try that as well?
Sure. Oof. Alright.
He is a smart little tin can, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
So what you guys know of the shuddering pox? Several years ago, there was an outbreak of shuddering pox in a place called Nessus, which is regarded as the first city. It is one of the deadliest diseases there is. The mere whisper of an outbreak kind of incites panic. People flee the city, so on and so forth. It's understandable why, if his children came down with this, nobody knows. And it presents itself as like a rash of like bloody, like red blisters that break easily and leave like permanent craters in the flesh. So even those who manage to survive are still marked. Bismarck with a 16, since you beat the difficulty by 5. You do know that it's very, 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 very deadly, but it is not an airborne disease. It is, you know, if you come in contact with a diseased victim, there's a chance you could catch it. But it's not an airborne. It's not a viral infection.
Okay.
But the fact that it is so dangerous would completely explain why they kept this on the down low. We've had some trusted people check on the children. We've tried to find a cure. They didn't know of anything. So I had resigned myself to the fact that, you know, our children were going to die. But that's not why I've called you here.
That's good, because we're not doctors. I don't know what people have been telling you.
I called you here because the children are missing.
Missing.
Oh, that's very bad.
Where were they?
They took sick and then they buggered off?
I do not know. I know that when I checked on them 2 days ago, they were in their room sleeping, obviously. When I checked on them yesterday, they were not. That's when I asked the staff, I asked the guards. Nobody had seen anything. And that's when I thought that perhaps it was time to call in experts, I guess. Is that what I would call you?
You can if you
I think
want.
so.
We won't stop you.
We have experience with this.
So if you can find them, I will pay. I am a man of some means.
Right. You've already talked to your staff, and no one saw them at all.
I have. I mean, admittedly, I am not a trained investigator. I don't necessarily know what to ask or what to look for. I would like to think that my staff wouldn't lie to me.
Oh, we'd all like to think that, wouldn't we?
How old are your children?
Ori is 17, Byron is 15, and Vanessa is 12.
It's very difficult to take teenagers home, mostly teenagers, to out of a room, without their
Especially if they're
consent.
sick.
And they make a lot of noise.
Right. We're gonna have to talk to your staff, I think, because I think
I'd like
that's
to
where we'll.
inspect the room as well.
Well, yes. Okay. Sure. Yeah, that sounds right.
Absolutely. You have full run of the grounds. Talk to whichever staff you feel it necessary to speak with. If anybody has any issues with that, just send them to me and I will set them straight. And then he summons like one of the guards. He simply says, these fine individuals are going to be helping to locate the missing children. Give them anything that they request. Make sure that, if they talk to anybody or question anybody, make sure that all the staff understands that they are doing so with my express permission. The guy kind of bows, says, "Yes, my lord."
I kind of like this guy.
It is a nice change.
Right. Let's get cracking then.
All right. Well, we have two problems. The way I see it, the first problem being
No, three. There's three. Three children.
Yes, three children. Correct.
It's important to keep track of these things.
No, and so finding the children is very, very important, not only to get paid, but because there are these omens of doom and pestilence. And if these children are being led around and infecting others, that could lead to a very, very, very big problem. I only have so much skill in this particular thing. Perhaps if we look at the room, I can see if there was any magic used in there. Outside of that, I believe Sif Sif is probably the best at interrogating, questioning, whatever the word is.
Right. Sounds like we got that sorted. Ruth and Bismarck will look for magic-y nonsense, and Sif will ask the questions, and I'll get ready to crack some skulls if it comes to that.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I agree with everything you said. All that was true.
All right, let's start with the. You wanted to start with the bedroom, right? The sick room, where they keep the
Entirely up to you, but my particular skills are best suited in the where they perhaps were abducted.
What do you think, Sif? Scene of the crime first.
Sounds like a good place to start.
All right,
right.
we'll make
Yeah,
our way to
let's
the
head that
bedroom.
way.
So you make your way to the children's bedroom. Their normal bedroom is in the house, but due to the nature of the pox, they were sequestered into the guest house, basically. So you are free to check both. Which one would you like to go to?
Probably the guest house where they were quarantined. I mean, that's probably where they were taken or they ran off from.
And he said he hasn't seen them in how long?
He sent for
2
you.
days?
Yeah, he checked on them 2 days ago. When he went to check on them yesterday, that's when he noticed they were missing. He did his own investigation, and then he sent for you guys.
Seems like the trail is relatively fresh.
So
Seems like if we're lucky, they've left an actual trail.
so as you, the guard that's essentially leading you around, he takes out like his big ring of keys. So, do you want me to accompany you? Do you wish to investigate on your own?
Actually, don't just wait outside while we take a look around.
Certainly. The Lord has instructed you that you have free reign, so just let me know what I can do. And he'll like unlock the guest house and then just wait outside. He does kind of like kind of bundle his cloak up around himself.
So I would strongly advise not touching anything. And this particular disease is contagious based on touch. So don't touch the blankets. Don't touch anything that looks like there might be a liquid on it. Yeah.
And if
You know.
you
Right.
Just be careful. You're fragile.
Well, I won't be taking my gauntlets off then.
Very good idea.
So yeah, so it looks like this little guest house has been converted over into like a sick house. There's 3 very comfortable looking beds. There's bowls of water. There's trays where the children probably like had their meals brought to them. All of that sort of thing. Everything seems to be relatively in place. There's a few, like there's a doll. There's like some carved wooden soldiers and horses. There's some toys and everything in here for the children.
All right, we'll start with the easy one, and I'll cast Sense Magic.
Okay.
And take a wander around the place.
So yeah, so you cast your sense magic, and it kind of like pulses out. You don't detect any active magical effects.
Yeah, nothing left over from something powerful or something.
Correct. And you can give me a perception check with a boon because you are a magician. And is anybody else looking around as well?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Not touching anything, just looking.
So perception checks all around. I believe Ruth, I think you picked up tracker at one point.
That would be under talents.
Be under professions.
I do have tracker, gatherer, highwayman, and yes, tracker is there.
Okay. So you can have a boon for tracker. Sif, you get a boon automatically for being a ranger, plus another one because I think you have tracker as well.
I have hunt prey.
Yeah, that's you have to see somebody in order to
Yeah.
mark them. But rangers get an automatic boon on any perception check.
Oh, lovely.
Thagor's just looking around the good old-fashioned way.
Dagger is just super perceptive.
So you said I get 2?
Yes.
Okay.
This may be the best you guys have rolled.
Wow.
So far in all of these games.
Let's not go crazy now.
Don't jinx us already. No pun intended. And welcome.
Speak of the devil.
Good time.
Or the goblin.
So just to very quickly bring Jinx up to speed. The group has been summoned by a local lord named Lord Havel. They met with him. He informed them that his 3 children had a very serious disease called the Shuddering Pox. Everybody else kind of picked it up, but Jinx would automatically know due to her medicine background that the Shuddering Pox, it's a very, very dangerous and deadly disease. It literally wiped out most of a city 4 or 5 years ago, to the point where if
It's as bad as it sounds.
yeah, so like if a village has it, people flee the village. So the fact that the Lord's children had this, it's not surprising that he would not tell anyone.
Are the children being quarantined?
They were. The reason why the party has been summoned is because the children have gone missing.
Ah,
They've done buggered off.
And they are just now starting to investigate what may have happened to the children. They're in the children were quarantined in a guest house that had been converted into like an infirmary, and that's where the party is currently investigating. And everybody rolled super high on perception.
you want
Well, I
one from
didn't.
me as well?
I didn't roll high. I just had extras.
Yeah. Yeah, you may as well.
Also, is there any like sort of protective measures we can take against contagion?
Don't touch anything.
Yeah, the contagion is passed by coming in contact with the diseased victim. It's not airborne, and it doesn't live on surfaces.
Would it affect Tony or I?
Anybody who is immune to disease would be fine.
Oh, yay! I'm fine.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think over half the party is like, yeah, whatever.
Well, technically,
I'm
made
not
out of
immune
wood.
to disease. Sadly. So
Keep your gloves on.
we just have to watch you for like Dutch Elm.
You gotta watch me for Dutch elm disease.
Termites. Oof.
And termites would be terrible for you.
So as you guys are looking around, since everybody succeeded, I'm essentially going to give you guys different information based off of your area of specialty.
Sorry, what was that?
Because everybody succeeded on the perception, rather than just saying you find blah, each character is going to get like a little piece of the puzzle based off of their area, their like special area of knowledge.
Oh, okay.
So Bismarck, as you're like looking around, and you did do the sense magic, and the sense magic didn't pick up any residual magic. There was no ongoing effects in the area, but you do find the very fine ashy particulate matter that is left behind after an incantation is used.
All right.
Ruthless and Sif, since you guys are both actual trackers, you notice that there's like a weird number of footprints leading to the guest house. Like you're like, okay, these tracks, and you kind of follow them back. These tracks, and you follow them back. These tracks, and you follow them back. These tracks don't have anything to follow back.
Like when you say a weird number of tracks, is it like 3 tracks at the same time or different sets of tracks?
Not the same number go in as go out, or something like that.
More accurately, there's like there are a bunch of tracks that you can follow back, and then there's one set where it's basically just like one pair of boot prints.
And they go
That's
into
just-
the guest house or away from it?
They are headed into the guest house, but it's not like you see it's not that you see tracks that go into the guest house. There's literally just like in front of the door, one set of boot prints that has nothing leading to it.
Gotcha. I
So, like,
understand now.
Somebody came from the sky
Like
or
someone-
teleported in.
Dropped from the roof, maybe? How high up is the roof?
The roof of the guest house is like 12 feet or so.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Thagor, as you're looking around, you notice that on some of the trays there's not as much mess as you expect from sick children eating off the tray, and yet all of the food is gone. Primarily stuff that would travel well. Like, you're looking and you're like, okay, there's like the remnants of like, some fruit and some like dried meats and things like that, things that would travel well. But it looks
So
like
these kids planned on buggering off.
yeah, it looks like some of the food was packed up as opposed to consumed.
Right, so either somebody planned to take them, or they planned to head off on their own.
And Jinx, you would notice, like I said, this guest house has been converted into like an infirmary. Some of the, not only are the children missing, but so are some of the medical equipment, like bandages and gauzes and like some fairly minor but essential medical stuff is also missing.
How old are the children? Did we learn that?
Teenage.
Yep, I'll put it in
Okay.
chat.
They're 17, 15, and 12.
Okay.
Almost teenage.
Hmm.
Mostly teenage? Hard to say. Human children are weird.
Well,
Well,
What would a wizard want with teenage children with this particular illness?
if he wants to spread it.
well, if war and pestilence and death have to be in play before bad things happen, then taking 3 individuals who have one of the worst particular plague causing diseases, and taking them away and using them as weapons makes a certain bit of sense, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
There was magic used here, by the way. I'll try to determine exactly what it was, but it's very, very difficult. Impossible for anyone else, but I'll try.
That would be
Ah.
good to know. Because there's a set of footprints outside the door that don't match any of the tracks that go back and forth to the building. Like any tracks that go back to the main house.
Yeah,
It's
just
just
two
as though
prints.
someone landed there. Exactly, yes.
Perhaps someone that can
Yellow
teleport.
don't count.
Mm,
Or fly.
or fly.
Fly. Would not explain the magic that was used here.
No. Would it? No?
Maybe you can use magic to fly. I can't use magic to fly. But
You could fly in and teleport out.
Chris, can I try to determine what kind of magic was used here?
Sure. Let's call it an intellect check with we'll give you 2 boons.
2 boons.
Midnight 30.
Nice.
Yeah, because you have a profession specifically related to magic. And you are a magician.
I is.
Alrighty. So yeah, you kind of piece through the kind of the remnants of the incantation. And you figure it was probably illusionary magic, maybe invisibility. It's a fairly low grade illusion ability, not terribly long lasting.
Is it safe to say that that was an incantation as opposed to a spell?
Yes, yeah, you do find the remnants.
Just to make sure that we're getting our nouns correct there.
Yes.
Well, then, what I find here, gentlemen and ladies, is this particular this spell was probably illusionary, not a very strong spell either, or I would have sensed it with my sense magic earlier, obviously, because that's what I do. But perhaps the trackers can look at these boot prints outside, and if we do maybe a grid search of some sort, we might be able to find those boot prints when they show up someplace else. Not teleportation as I expected.
With the boot prints, is there any indication, since you were able to see, did it look like any of them were the children's prints leaving?
No, it didn't look like any children's prints at all.
No. Probably the servants going back and forth with food and such.
But an
And
illusion wouldn't hide the
Parents
prints,
being
right, Chris?
checked.
An illusion would not hide the prints.
I am also heavily aware of the fact that my feet are probably smaller than any of their children's.
But as you guys look, you do notice that Ruth doesn't leave any tracks on the snow either.
Not unless I want to.
Do we really want to get into that right now?
It's a druid thing. It's just a druid thing. It's something they train me in, and at this point it's just second nature. I only leave tracks when I want to now.
If you ever get kidnapped or stolen away, please decide to leave tracks. It'll make my job a lot easier.
It's a deal.
Is there, like, what's the terrain around this yard kind of like?
It is largely kind of like kicked up muddy snow from like many people walking back and forth.
I'm going to kind of do a wider circle around to see if I can see any other tracks that just suddenly start. Any of the trails that appear out of nowhere.
Give me a perception check with 2 boons.
Nice.
24.
You guys are
That
so,
might be the highest roll I've ever made.
you guys are going to be doomed when bad stuff happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's because you're not trying to hit anything. So
Yes. I don't
still
have my
rolling
cursed
shite.
flail out.
We haven't failed a roll yet.
don't point that out. Don't
There it
tease us.
is. Yep, it's
Not
all
done
over
with
now.
here.
I hope they call you again, Tony.
Serves
Sorry,
them
guys.
right.
I should know better.
Doom.
So as Sif starts to do this kind of like widening perimeter search, on the far side of the makeshift infirmary near the wall that goes around the estate, you do notice a couple of the boards, because it's a wooden fence, right? It's not like steel or anything. A couple of the boards are loose. When you kind of move them aside, just on the other side of that, you do see tracks. You see 4 sets of tracks.
All right.
Excellent.
Good job.
I will call
So
back
they were
to the
definitely
others.
taken by someone.
That someone probably didn't look exactly like what they normally look like. Illusion magic, right?
Good point. So that guy we had stand outside, let's ask him to see if he's seen anything there. Anyone go in or leave that place.
Or any strangers on the property at all.
Or even if they weren't strangers, because it was illusion, right?
True. Very true.
Anybody would have gone in and out of that.
Honestly, if there was anyone that wasn't, if there was anyone that wasn't just the normal staff assigned, like, did the children have a caretaker, or it could have even been family?
Well, are there tracks that lead from the building to that particular fence?
There are not.
That's very, very, very confusing. How would you not have tracks?
What is the general disposition of the area beyond the fence in that direction?
Is there any sign of a struggle around it at all?
There's no sign of a struggle at all. And as Thagor looks, you can see now there are tracks. I mean, they're kind of like blown over with snow because this did happen like yesterday. But you can see very clearly, or mostly clearly, tracks, and then it leads into like some of the woods that are on the outskirts of Bazazan, and then continues off in that direction in a northeasterly direction.
Well, we'll definitely have to follow those. It'd be nice
Yeah,
if
we should probably do it sooner rather than later.
Yes, it'd be nice though if we had some idea what kind of kidnapper we were looking for. What to expect once we do catch up to them. I can't imagine 3 ill children will be moving very quickly. Not if they have shuddering hawks.
Well, knowing our luck, it's some kind of fey monster or some kind of demon thing, or
True enough.
if we're really lucky, maybe it'll just be some asshole wizard that wants to sacrifice their lives to the dark, whatever.
That's grand. That's optimism right there.
Or
Yeah.
some mad alchemist who's trying to cure them.
I
That's
mean,
the other thing.
that would seem a little too lucky. I think.
It would. And you would think if you were trying to cure someone, you would I don't know, speak to their parents about it first, as opposed to just stealing them away in the middle of the night. My
But they-
wager, if we're making wagers, will be that they are intending to spread this shuddering pox around.
Where's the nearest civilization from here, outside of here?
Outside of Bazazan?
Yep. Both Sif and Ruth would know that about 2 days in that general direction, there's a little village called Thorpe.
Thorpe's up that way. If someone has a
Is
particular
it a Thorpe
grudge
called Thorpe?
against- Is it what?
Is it a Thorpe called Thorpe?
It very well may be. Once you get
Sorry.
to a very small size, there's not a lot of imagination goes into naming them.
A Thorpe is a name for a small village.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think a Thorpe is smaller than a hamlet.
Yes, I think so.
Good God. So we're looking for 3 houses.
I'm waiting
Yes.
for us to come to a place called Over There.
Probably. I've been to the Over There. Completely different place.
There's probably a place in Newfoundland called that.
Yeah, probably.
More than likely.
No, there's probably profanity in that based on all my Newfie friends.
Maybe.
Used to be a place in EverQuest called the Over There.
All right. So as you guys kind of follow these tracks for a little bit, just kind of get the lay of the land, you do get to a point where it looks like there were horses tied up. There's like a large amount of trampled down snow and some horse puckies left laying around. And then the horse prints continue on in that same general direction.
Oh, this was well thought out, I think.
Somebody definitely had it planned. I don't think we're going to find anything good.
I wonder if there's anyone else from that household or family missing.
I think, nevertheless, our best course is to follow the tracks until we can't
Oh,
anymore.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because we've got a limited window to follow these tracks before they're gone entirely.
Where he didn't mention where his wife was from, did he?
No, he didn't.
Is that a rumor at all?
Bismarck, give me an intellect check with your a boon for your heraldry.
Heraldry. Guys, I told you that was the skill to take.
It's key.
Right.
14.
So yes, now that you think of it, his wife, Lysa, is from Thorpe.
Well, that makes a lot of sense then.
This is the commoner wife.
Yes.
We saw her in the castle, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We did indeed.
Or maybe it was some of her family took the children.
If we're laying wagers.
Or someone was really upset with her marrying a lord, then weaponizing her children and bringing them to Thorpe would be a way to.
That's what I'm
seek
putting my
revenge.
money on.
Bismarck, shouldn't you interview the wife then?
I don't know. If
Like
we
I
have
say, I
time
think
to.
we should look after these tracks first before they can't follow them anymore.
We should tell the Lord what we found and where we're going.
Who's the fastest and can run up and back?
Well, it ain't me.
How do we determine speed? I guess.
Whatever your speed characteristic is.
Oh, right. 10.
Too many different games. 10.
Beats me. Mine's 8.
8.
10.
Damn it. I'm
All
going to
right,
be following tracks.
I'll get some
I'm-
straw.
It's literally what I do
Um,
for a living.
Do we have 2 people that can follow tracks that have a 10?
I have a 10. I can follow tracks.
I do too.
Would if my thought would if the other one of you would be willing, like I am also willing to run, but I'm like, are we gonna have to follow tracks to meet up with the party? Is my only hesitation in going and doing it myself.
Oh, don't worry. My tracks are easy to follow.
They really are.
I don't mind being the person to run back and give an update if
Ruth, on
there
the
is
other
one
hand,
relayed
Ruth
to
is-
me.
Ruth's a pain in the ass to follow. All right, I'm going
Well-
to set out along the tracks.
Why don't we send Ruth back then?
Yeah, I can go
And
back.
that way, when Ruth follows along behind us, she won't be leaving extra tracks.
Right. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. That's
Just in
perfectly
case
fine.
someone, just in case someone sees our tracks, they won't see anything of you. So, at the very least, you can be a surprise for them.
Perfect.
Hopefully, that won't be necessary, but just in case, because I'm laying my wager on someone deciding to wipe out that town with the Shuddering Pox town. That cluster of houses as a great sign that the Lord has done something terrible by marrying this woman.
All right.
As
So
though
hopefully
the
we won't have to
stars
kill
would
another
care.
town. That town, that wasn't fun.
We didn't kill the last town,
No, we saved
and
the
they were
last town.
assholes.
The ones before that were assholes, and that was much larger than a Thorpe. We're not likely to find a tavern. We're going to be lucky to find a barn.
And we killed very few of those people.
That is also true.
There's always a bootlegger.
Nature killed. That's true. He probably hasn't set up actual shop though. We
Arguably,
might find a shed that has some secreted away alcohol.
it could be said that they killed themselves.
And we just didn't stop it.
We tried, but I mean,
They kind of deserved it at that point.
I'm
The-
not sure
the-
all that's.
the apples were really good.
They were sacrificing children.
I'm just saying, you can't argue with the results.
Just stand.
I think you can.
Let's
All
try
right,
to keep
we have
this short
tracks.
and
We
one
have a
piece.
message.
So Ruth is going to run back to talk to the Lord and Lady, and the rest of you are following the tracks.
That's right.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I
we're
want to
just
keep my
getting Ruthie.
yeah, and I want my perception clued in to pay attention to what the reaction from the lady is when we tell them that they've gone to. What is the name of this place again? Hovel.
The place where you're going is
Thorpe.
Thorpe, yes.
All right. So Ruth takes off at a little jog to jog back. You guys continue to follow the trail, and it's not a difficult trail to follow. It's horses going through the snow. Even though it is like a day or so ago, there hasn't been any fresh snowfall. So, with an experienced guide like Sif, I mean, it's cold and it's chilly, but it's not difficult to follow. And follow. And follow. How long are you following them for? Until Ruth catches up with you, or?
If there's no variation in the trail, then yes.
Yeah, they can only move as fast as their slowest person, right? So I should be able to catch up because it won't be a long
Right, that's an
conversation.
8.
All right. So Ruth, you jog all the way back. you know, go to the main house of the estate.
Hmm.
And Mirolov is like, did you look like you're out of breath? Did you encounter something?
I'm passing on news. The search is continuing. We found tracks. It's very, very interesting. There was all the tracks were accounted for into the guest house, except for one set that only appeared before the door. It was only 2 boot prints, and then those nothing. They did not walk to the door, and they did not walk out. We did a grid search, and we found by the fence. Uh, we found 4 sets of footprints. So we're thinking that they're Ori, Byron, and Vanessa, and whoever took them. Also in the guest house, lunches were packed and items were packed. So I don't think they were kidnapped. I think they went willingly. They've gone to the northwest. The closest town that I know in the northwest is from Thorpe, and that's where I'm paying attention to the lady to see if she reacts.
Both of them actually. Both of them, when you say Thorpe, both of them just kind of get this look in their face, like definite look of recognition. And then he looks at her and he says, like, Pedrick. Like, no. It's like he was here. He told us that he could cure the children. We told him that
Pedrick?
the children's uncle.
And the name is Pedrick?
Yep. He's he kind of looks at with says like, I mean no offense, but he is of a religious bent. And he believed he had a cure for the children, but the last thing that the children need is any of his hogwash. So,
All right. I passed on my messages. Is there anything else I should know before I catch up with my crew?
I don't believe.
What is Pedrick's religion? Is there anything I should know? Is he new?
He is a fervent worshiper of the old gods.
Okay. Anyone in particular or all?
And Lysa kind of thinks for a second. The Moon Maiden, I believe. We never saw eye to eye on religion. I think it's more of a superstition to keep the masses in line, but he fervently believes. We should have listened to him. We shouldn't have just sent him away.
All right. Anything else?
And Lord Havel just kind of looks and says, find my children, and if Pedrick is responsible, bring him here if you can for justice. But make sure that the children don't infect anyone. You can see he's got this resigned look on his face, like he understands his children are, his children, he's written them off as dead a little while ago. He's just kind of hanging on. He's like, just make sure that they don't spread any suffering.
Understood. And lady, anything you would like me to pass on or do?
I can't. No.
All right. Then I will take off and catch up to these band of misfits.
All right. So time passes as you guys are continuing to follow the tracks, and it's slow going through the woods and the snow. Probably after an hour or so, Ruth catches up. The tracks continue to go. And you guys know that Thorpe is about 2 days away.
I believe I can. I'll have to look at my talents here, but I think I don't have to worry about these natural terrain issues.
Correct. You do not.
Right then, we'll all ride you. How about that?
Yes, ride the wave.
Giddy up.
Yeah, Bismarck ignores difficult terrain too. So
Ah, that's 2 we can
How
ride.
fast do you go,
Excellent.
Bismarck?
what's that?
How fast are you?
Oh, slow 8.
Okay.
It's really really tiny.
Are you heavy?
And about 95 pounds according to the sheet.
And my strength is -1, so I probably can't carry that much.
Probably not. Alrighty. So yes, so you guys are continuing to make your way towards Thorpe following the trail?
Yep.
Do you want me to scout ahead?
That'd be nice too.
As long as you can keep track of where you're going.
Oh yeah, I can do that. It's just if you start
Remember
seeing my
what I said.
footprints, it's because I've been kidnapped. Okay.
You've been abducted. Exactly. If you're in danger, let your tracks show so we know
Yeah, there
what
you go.
happened.
All right, I'm gonna move up ahead, see if I can get there faster than these guys.
Okay.
And I won't engage, but I just kind of want to know what's going on
Alright. How far ahead are you scouting?
as fast as I can go.
Okay.
Because these guys got a day's head start, right?
They do. And they're on horses.
Yep.
And they're on horses, yeah. I can turn into an animal, but I can only do it for like a minute or so, I think.
Okay. Ruth, give me a perception check.
I'm good at perception. This will be the Tony missed roll.
The kiss of death.
I deserve it. Oh God.
See what you did.
It's all me, guys. It's all me.
Here we go.
Lo and behold, brother
could've
betrays
prayed.
brother.
I could have prayed, but I didn't think I was going to need it.
It begins.
What is Ruth's defense?
14.
Alrighty. So as you're like kind of jogging through the woods, following the trail, out of nowhere, something large and black and furry slams into you. I need you to make an agility roll.
Can I pray on that one?
You sure can.
Ah!
Alright, so you do not get knocked prone.
No. Don't I have some sort of talent to speak with these things?
Uh,
Make friends with them?
and you only take 7 points of damage.
Only 7?
As I said in Fallout yesterday, always pay attention to the words the game master chooses. If they roll damage and then say you only take X, it means that they rolled low.
Fair enough.
And you see like this thing like charges into you like just teeth and claws. It's probably pretty close to twice your size. It's about 5 feet at the shoulder of just like snarling, angry wolf. Its
Well, I
eyes
can
are
identify. Yeah, I can identify any animal or plant.
oddly enough, it is not an animal.
You're fucked.
Oh no.
Is
This ain't
it a
good.
plant?
It is not a plant either.
With a shot.
Is it the nothing? The never-ending story?
No, it is not. So, Ruth, you can decide if you would like to go fast or slow, because as this thing barrels into you, it just kind of like whirls around very quickly. A little bit of your blood kind of dripping from its fangs.
I always go. Even if I go slow, I go first anyway, right?
If it goes slow, then yes, you do.
Well, I'm gonna go fast then.
Okay. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna use murmurification and go right up a tree, very
Okay.
high.
Okay.
So I break apart into a whole bunch of sparrows and go straight up and reform at a branch about 20 feet in the air.
Okay. It is gonna like. It basically it does like kind of like ram into the tree, trying to use its mass to dislodge you. Not successfully, but there's definitely a glimmer of intelligence there.
All right.
And from out of the tree line, you see another one.
How far ahead of my team or am I?
Just one sec. There we go. We'll put you on this map so you have a much better view. You're probably about 10 minutes away from them or so. So at your speed, you're probably.
Is there a map? I don't see a map.
Didn't get brought to the map.
I see a map.
You see a map?
Yep.
I will log out. Oh, there
Oh.
we go. Something's flashing.
There we go.
There we go.
Got it. We'll just move everybody to the map so you guys can see. So yeah, you figure you're probably a good mile and a half from your friends.
Yeah, I can't outrun these guys.
Just want to check something. It also has vaguely humanoid features now that you're like in a position to actually look at it.
I'm a werewolf baby.
That can't be good.
Like part wolf, part human. And they're just kind of like circling the tree, and then they kind of just like sit and wait.
Well, that's not good. I guess I'm gonna start taking pot shots at them.
Okay.
You think that let's see if crossbows work. Say a little prayer. Because Lord knows I need it.
Oh, that is a solid hit.
All right. Ah, good roll.
Right. So yeah, you kind of brace yourself up in this tree that you find yourself in. like line up your crossbow shot, fire, kind of catch one of them in the main torso area. It kind of
Does it yelp?
it does yelp. It sounds bestial, but it doesn't sound like any wolf you've ever heard. And then the two of them basically kind of dart across that open area into the tree line, and you lose sight of them unless you want to make a perception check.
I absolutely do. But I blow it.
So yes, you lose sight of them in the snow-covered trees.
Oh, I didn't have a boon or any of that because of tracking or anything, did I?
No. You're not following the tracks. You're just trying to keep an eye on them in amongst the dark trees.
All right. Is there any other? All right, then I'm gonna. What I'm gonna do? I got one more cast of Murmification. I want to go as far back towards my team as I can using that, and stay in trees.
Gotcha. I think it moves you up to your speed, which would be 10 meters, so like 30 feet. Whereas I just confuse people by saying like meters and feet both.
Yeah, suck that, Americans.
All right. So yeah, you can basically find another tree and you go like, I'm gonna go there. Flutter over to it, 30 or so feet closer to the rest of your party. And from your like vantage point on the trees, you can probably see like the glimmer of sunlight on Thagor's armor and on Bismarck's like metallic body. So you can see them. They're like way the fuck off that way, but you can see them.
All right, let me just. I'm gonna cast a minor healing on me. Okay.
Okay. So you kind of reach down and that healing energy flows through you. It's the first time you felt warm all day. And assuming that you just kind of wait around, the rest of the party does catch up.
Yeah, it looks like my damage got healed.
Yeah, you heal half your healing rate, so. So yes, eventually you guys do catch up. Ruth is at that point probably still sitting in the tree.
Yeah, when I see them coming, I say, "Watch out! There's spirit wolves."
Spirit wolves?
Big
Thanks.
human faced wolves.
Thagor's gonna
Humanoid
watch
wolves.
out.
Sif's going to pull out her bow and look around. Do I see anything that looks like a wolf?
You can make a perception check with the boon.
You could probably find their tracks about 30 feet the other direction.
Well
Yes,
said.
you can definitely find tracks.
While Sif is doing that, I will cast Spellbound Weapon on my Scorpion Tail.
Can I follow those tracks at all to where they are?
If you would like to.
And I will climb out of
Well,
a tree.
it's more visually, not actually like following the tracks, because I don't want to be face to face with it. I like to be at range with a bow.
So as you
But
look
like, do
around,
the tree if the tracks go, off to the east? Okay, well, I'd like to look east and start shooting.
so you look and give me the perception check with a boon, but just on a cursory glance, you
One
do
or two?
Would be one, two.
Okay.
So you do see where the one attacked Ruth. There's like a little splatter of blood on the snow. Judging from the size and the impact, these things are very large. And the tracks do in fact lead off to the east, but as you look east, you don't see any.
Did you run them off?
I climbed a tree and shot one with my crossbow. Got a really good hit on it, and they took off.
And we're traveling which way to Thorpe? Northwest.
Yeah, you guys are headed northeast.
Oh. Okay, because you had said that the town was to the northwest.
Yeah, then you're headed northwest.
Okay, I wanted to double check. It's like, are these going in the same direction? Do I still see the trail that we've been following?
Yes.
Okay. Do we take after these wolves, or do we keep going for the children? I'd prefer to keep going and deal with the wolves later.
Well, I would argue that a potentially contagious disease completely obliterating a very small hamlet, that's what a Thorpe is, would be a greater threat than a spirit wolf, whatever that is.
Agreed.
Right. Let's sally forth. We've chased off these cowardly wolves. We'll deal with that later if it comes to it.
I concur. I'm not in a hurry to meet them again.
So
Well,
you guys. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris. No, I'm just babbling.
So you guys continue on, kind of everybody keeping their eyes open, just in case, every once in a while you think you see something moving through the woods, keeping pace with you, but nothing comes out of the woods towards you. Nothing comes to attack you. So you don't know whether it's just your overactive imagination playing up the fact that maybe there's something following you, or if something is actually following you. And as you start to get into the early parts of the evening, realizing that you're still probably about a day or so away from Thorpe, the realization that you guys are going to need to camp in the cold kind of dawns on you.
It's not the first
crap.
time.
Yeah, Sif and I are cool with that.
I guess
Not
look
the
around,
first
try to
time.
find options
Won't be the
for camping.
last.
Yeah, I can start working on a shelter because I have highwayman skills.
I mean, me, Tegan, knows that while it's not the most comfortable, it's actually not that bad, especially if there's snow. Like, you basically build a snow fort and sleep inside it. I've done it.
Yep, snow is a great insulator.
Yep.
I think every Canadian kid knows that.
Yeah.
All right. So yes.
Pretty sure this is a person problem.
Yes, because you couldn't possibly freeze up.
Probably not. No.
Too bad you weren't bigger. We could put a tarp over you and pile some snow on top of you, and it would be a perfect place to sleep.
Oh dear.
Alrighty.
Oh, I suppose.
So between
We will
your
make camp.
outdoorsy types peoples, you guys can very easily get like a good shelter built, a nice like kind of a lean-to with some snow for insulation. Between Thagor and Sif and Ruth, this is it's not an issue to set something up at all. Nice little fire going. Break out some rations. I mean, it's not comfortable. It's definitely cold, but it's not deadly. And as the you start to warm up after having some like hot cocoa or whatever around the fire, you start to feel not too bad about things. And that's when the game master asks, "Are you guys setting watches?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have one watch. That'll be Bismarck.
Okay.
I would think, right? Like you guys sleep.
Right.
I mean, if you
do
want
keep
to,
forgetting
I
that
don't know if I
Bismarck
sleep or not.
doesn't,
I'm going
even
to
though
assume
he
I do.
mentions it all the time.
I don't know if I sleep or not, but I'm going to assume I do.
Yes, you do.
Sif definitely does.
Well, I will sleep first. Whoever's on watch can wake me up if they get tired.
I'll be Bismarck.
I mean, my perception is pretty good, but you guys can, if you want to alternate, that's up to you guys, for sure.
I'm fine with Bismarck calling out for help. I trust him.
Yeah, so he'll climb the nearest tree and just pay attention.
What doesn't Bismarck give me a perception?
All right, I have no outside skills, but I do have a pretty good perception. He says out loud, "This book that Thagor gave me is sort of great." So,
Reading all about the history of different dwarvish clans and
Oh,
different
yeah.
wars, and it's fascinating. The good news, however, is that nothing eats you in the night.
They wait until morning.
right.
It would appear that when Ruth, perhaps when Ruth wounded one, that was in fact enough to dissuade them.
It was enough to dissuade them?
Nothing came and ate you in the night.
I'm very happy about that.
The night passes uneventfully. I assume that Bismarck kind of tends the fire so that everybody can stay toasty.
Oh yeah, he does the stuff he has to do. Yeah.
Everybody heals equal to half your healing rate. Spells are refreshed. And it is a beautiful, sunny, albeit wintry morning.
Well, the good news is that it only cost us 8 or 10 hours, but I assume you're all feeling better. I suppose you have to eat, and when we're done eating, we can. Yeah. Anybody else gonna book? I'd finish this one.
No.
Having something hot would probably be better than not.
We're more of an oral tradition in my group.
Right. I suppose that makes sense.
You guys have a little bit of a breakfast, put out your fire, knock down your lean-to, reclaim what you can, rope, tarp, whatever. Pick up continuing to follow the path. It is slightly harder to follow today just because time has passed. But again, with both Sif and Ruth, tracking a horse that's not trying to be stealthy through the snow for you guys is it's like turning on a computer. It's like just automatic. And as you go, who is kind of keeping watch as you travel?
I mean, I suppose I would be, because that's the kind of thing I do.
Ruthless is also paying very close attention because she's kind of looking for direwolves.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't think there's anyone not paying attention as we're traveling.
Hmm.
All right, everybody give me perception check. Sif, you get a boon. 2 boons. Thagor gets a boon. Ruth gets a boon. Can't remember if Jinx has any outdoorsy professions or not.
No.
Oh, the boon boned it for me.
That didn't help.
I mean, I'm sneaky.
Ouch.
I don't really have the boon thing.
Yeah.
Here
None
we
of us
go, boys.
anything. Yeah. Yeah. Where's the doom? Oh Jesus! Wow.
Good news. If we died at
all
the first
failed.
hit, we never saw it coming.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen
cow.
dice swing so badly.
We
7s,
had
8s, and
boons.
9s. And that was all right.
Boons.
2 of them. Still rolled a 9.
I had a +3 on that roll.
Well, at least
All right. So as you guys are going, and you're kind of enjoying the fact, being outdoors for some of you is very, very kind of refreshing, and keeping an eye open, like looking around for like those giant wolves just in case. And
but we missed the mammoths.
and that's when who rolled the lowest here?
A lot of 7s.
I had a boon and a +2, and I still rolled a 9.
So Bismarck and Jinx, since you guys rolled the low, so as you're walking along, and everybody is keeping an eye open, and you trip over like a partially frozen or partially embedded in the snow broken crate. And as Bismarck is like, what? And he like falls into like a crate that is open, embedded slightly in the snow, but no top on it, that he just kind of like partially tumbles into. And you realize that you guys have stumbled into what looks like the remnants of a camp. One of those didn't see the trees for the forest, or didn't see the forest for the trees sort of thing. But as you kind of like pick yourself up, kind of dust the snow off, and you look around, and there are bodies everywhere.
Are they teenage bodies?
Do they look like they were sick bodies?
No, they look like they have been dead for quite a while.
So not more than a day.
Oh.
Not less than a day.
A lot more than today. Some of them are just skeletal remains. Some of them are like long, just like frozen solid corpses. Judging from like some of the armor and the weapons, it looks like at one point this may have been a skirmish of some sort, but you're not entirely sure when. But certainly no time in recent history.
Well, this place is surely cursed.
Thagor, could you? I'm stuck in a box.
Yeah, that's true. We'll help you up.
So you kind of help Bismarck up to his feet.
I'll drop a sense magic just cause.
All right. So. Sorry. 5 meters. So this body down here actually pings on your sense magic.
Oh, wait, gentlemen, people, very carefully. Let's maybe particularly move to the south, a little bit southwest. Maybe is the best way. I sense something down that way that might be of interest, or it might kill us all. I'm not sure exactly yet.
Specifically, actually, you can identify the armor that he's wearing is what's radiating the magic.
Well, I'll go take a look.
Uh,
A terrible idea.
So yeah, so he's got a very nice set of soft leather armor. Does not seem to be terribly ravaged by time or the environment.
This is very interesting. Who could wear this? This particular armor, it appears to be somewhat resistant to age and the environment, and it radiates with a little bit of magic.
Interesting.
Nice.
Do you
Who wears
think it's
leather armor?
safe? Jinx does.
Safe, huh? Well, safe. Let me do a little bit of inspection, and we'll see what we can find out. And can I identify it or?
As you're kind of like looking at it and kind of like moving it and stuff, it
Poke it with scorpion tail.
it doesn't make any noise. There's no creaks or anything. Like it's leather that's been in the cold, and it doesn't creak or anything when it moves.
So in this world, does armor resize?
It does not.
So it's a grown ass person, not something that Jinx could wear.
I mean, you might be able to like take it back, like your master or perhaps even you could probably like keep the enchantment intact and resize it, but it has to be manually resized.
I mean, I
Okay.
might be able to help if we weren't have the time and space, as I've been studying arcane.
So yeah,
Well, Sif, maybe this is something that's good for you at this particular moment, and we can investigate later. It is owned by a corpse, so I'm not sure how you feel about that. But
So yeah, you found some magic armor on a dead guy, and you're just gonna punk it right on.
well, my initial inspection tells me that it's probably not going to kill her, but probability is probably 90%.
I
But you know
have
what
hard
killed the
leather.
dead guy?
I have
It-
hard
it-
leather on under my cloak.
I also technically wear leather, but I wear kind of leather with like bones and antlers and shit like that. So I like to keep the one I got.
Well, this particular thing is enchanted, and maybe we can find a way to use it to our advantage. We might not necessarily
Enchanted
do
how?
it. It makes the wearer particularly quiet. It doesn't make a lot of noise when it moves. So even if you don't want to use it now, someone should carry it because it's bigger than I am. And then perhaps Jinx and I can investigate on how to best put it to use in the future.
Who's
Oh.
our strong person?
Probably the dwarf.
Everybody
suppose, yeah.
Everybody looks at that going.
If we could save it until we have time to work with it properly and maybe resize it, I would definitely appreciate it, if no one else objects. But I am limited in how much I can carry as I am small.
All right. Pass it over here, and I'll put it in my backpack if I can.
If you really don't want to carry it, I probably can.
Oh no, it's fine.
All right.
Can anybody wear it right now in the current state? Sif, Sif, do you wear? Would it fit Sif right now?
yeah. Literally anybody, either Ruth or Sif could wear it. It's basically human-ish sized. It's size 1 soft leather armor.
All right. So,
Probably want to warm it up a little bit first.
Sif, are you already moving silently?
I'm moving as silently as I'm likely to. but I wear hard leather and carry a clinky flail. So
All right. Well, I'm gonna put it on then.
go for it.
Yeah, I'll
Well-
put it on.
As you start to strip it off the body,
Here we go.
Cursed. Told you.
you see spirits start to rise from some of the corpses.
Well, I leave it alone then.
I need everybody to give me a willpower check with 1 bane.
Can I pray?
No.
17.
16.
You ain't
No.
scared of no ghost.
Hey.
God damn it.
Jinx.
Oh, ouch. Oh,
Thagor ain't scared of no ghost, and he's not going to Chinatown.
Goblins are a skittish lot.
Because you made the Chinatown joke, now I'm just thinking green flame.
So you are frightened for a D3 rounds plus your insanity total.
I have no insanity, so just roll a d3.
So you are frightened for 1 round. 1 round, and frightened means that you can only take slow actions, and you can't. You have a bane while you can see the thing you're frightened of.
Okay.
It looks like my insanity's reset since the last game.
Yes, Bismarck. Tony told me that
cures.
Bismarck was going to cure it all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this wizard's half cleric.
Oh, now that we've napped, do I get my spells back?
Yes. And everybody can decide if they would like to be fast or slow. All right. Contestants have their choices locked in.
Indeed.
Oh, hang on.
I don't know about locked.
Is there a ghost next to us? No. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll go on slow then.
All right. Sif is up.
Sif is going to try to shoot one of them with her longbow.
Right.
And hope. Any boons or banes from my recent excursions?
Nope. Just your standard old warrior one, which is already calculated.
21?
21 hits and does the extra damage from your forceful strike as well.
Sweet. Oh, God. Wasn't
Uh,
there something about re-rolling? Or no, that was just for banes. Boons.
Yep. You do get 1 more d6 though from your forceful strike.
Oh. Higher than both of the others. Good
Right.
God.
So which one were you shooting?
Oh. Pick up my character sheet. Move it out of the way. The one right. Ooh. I was gonna shoot the one by Ruthless, but I'm gonna shoot the one just north of me instead. That one. Northwest of me.
So yes, these things do seem relatively solid. Your arrow does find significant purchase. This one down here, though, is going to swing its sword at Bismarck.
I would like to use the triggered action.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, I don't like getting hit.
And you do notice, like, as this thing swings at you, and as you move away from it, it does seem to be moving with a fair degree of tenderness, and it looks like it's almost trying to shift around to get out of the sunlight that is basically everywhere because you guys are in a fairly open area. It seems like it does not like being in the sun and is here more because it's forced to be as opposed to because it wants to.
Okay.
That will bring us to Bismarck, Jinx, Ruthless, and Thagor.
Right. Thagor is going to go to this one
Actually,
over
I'll
here.
go before Thagor. 'Cause I'm
Okay, go
casting a
ahead.
spell on Thagor.
Ooh, the bear spirit.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff.
All right. And so what can I do? Because I'm going slow, I can move, cast, and do an action? Or is there something? Anything?
Casting the spell is your action, but you can still move.
Okay. Well, I don't need to move.
Okay.
I'm preparing to pray, though.
Actually, there's more than this way. So Thagor will go this way. All right, you poor dead bastards. Let's see if we can send you to peace. We use the Warhammer and Shield. And I get a boon for the bear spirit, I think, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
That is a solid hit, and all the damages.
12 of the damages.
So you strike out with your warhammer, and this thing is surprisingly solid for a recently risen spectrally thing. And you connect with a very solid core, and it just kind of turns, and its mouth kind of drops open, and it kind of like hisses at you with this like evil abyssal death breath. It doesn't do any damage. It just you have its attention.
Okay.
It smells bad.
Stank breath achieved. Gotcha.
I have 3 words for you. Brush your teeth.
That will take us to Jinx and Bismarck still to go.
Go get him, Jinx.
I am frightened, so while I'm on slow. Is attacking on a slow turn still considered a slow action?
Yes, slow just means that you go after fast actions, and you can either move, you can move and do a thing.
Right. All right. So I get a boon to attack. So basically, it negates itself out because I'm attacking at -1.
Yep.
So I will take a swing. Kind of with a yelp of, oh shit. Well, not like that, but just that sort of yelp of surprise of there is suddenly a dead thing attacking us. I'm gonna go with no on that. Wasn't
No,
as bad as it could have been.
so yeah, you're a little bit taken aback, just enough for you to go like, okay, wait, let me get my wits about me. Focus. Bismarck.
Jinx, are you strong?
No?
Because I can do that bear spirit spell twice. So I was just wondering if I should give it to somebody else too.
I mostly work with like speed and agility.
Okay.
I'm just going to the one that Thagor attacked. I'm going to give him the old magic wrench.
Yeah.
You know, or send out those words of arcane power that everyone hears but forgets as soon as they hear them. That'll work.
That'll work. He is he is knocked prone, takes some damage, and is impaired.
Did I heal any from last night?
You would have healed half of your healing. Alright.
Does that not drop him?
It makes him prone, but he is still standing.
Oh, wow. And I don't need to move. Okay.
So he is going to, since he was going slow anyway, he is going to get to his feet. And then he's going to attack Thagor. That is going to be a 16. I don't think that hits Thagor. I think your defense is like 18.
18 with the Warhammer and board, yeah.
Excellent. So yeah, so it kind of like stumbles to his feet and like lashes out with this this solid looking yet still spectrally sword. But it glances off your shield.
Oh, don't struggle, beastie. It'll be over soon.
The other one though will come up and get you for 7 damage.
Right.
And then this one here will close with Sif.
No.
Goal, roll better than me.
And that'll be a 7. So everybody has decided if they want to go fast or slow.
Sorry, did I just take 7 damage?
No, I only rolled a 7 hit.
Oh, okay. I lost track of who was hitting who.
I think I've got my dance partners all locked in here.
Alrighty. So Bismarck, Ruth, and Thagor are all on fast actions.
I'll go last.
Crossbow with say a little prayer and shoot with crossbow at the one that Thagor already wounded.
Okay. Uh, 15 is a hit.
All right.
And that one sinks back into the corpse from which it had arisen.
Good job.
Thagor is up.
No, one for you, beastie.
Ooh, that is another solid hit.
Oh, Thagor swinging heavy today. 14 damage. That'll be my last hit for the night. It's good. I'm proud.
That will take us to Bismarck.
Things still up, eh?
Yes, it is.
It's looking bad though, is it?
It is looking pretty bad. Yeah.
All right, we'll try a magic dirt. For 3 whole damage.
So yeah, so that magic dart kind of blows a fairly big hole into its form, but it is still operational.
I was hoping they'd do it.
Not quite.
Being stingy on spells, boys. Sorry.
It's
That
okay.
is only a 15 against Thagor.
Nope. Wave to the one down the way there. Come on, don't be shy.
That is only a 10 against Sif. That will bring us to Jinx and Sif. You guys notice that these things they seem to be having like a very hard time focusing. Like every time they kind of move into a more sunlit area, they kind of like wince in pain and like draw back a little bit, and it's throwing their attacks off.
So, standing in sunlight is good.
Yes. Gonna call out, stand in the sunlight. I take it that's the white bits on the map?
No, the whole area, unless you're like right by the trees, is sunlit.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Most of the trees near us are good and knocked down.
Been practicing making maps with Incarnate, so.
I have some map work to do, and I really got to get on it, but I haven't had a chance yet.
Well, it is the advantage for running like 4 different fantasy games, is I get a lot of reuse out of my maps.
Nothing wrong with that.
Alrighty, so Jinx and Sif.
I used to get a ton of use of those printed vinyl maps that I had.
I'm just
but it's-
backing up a bit, so I'm closer to Ruth and farther from him so that I can shoot him again.
Okay.
Better. 19.
Yeah, 19 is a hit. Not enough to trigger the extra damage, but still a solid hit.
Hey, much better result. On fewer dice.
Alrighty. And Sif.
That
Shameen and
was
Jinx.
Sorry, Jinx, yes.
I'm gonna take a swing at the one that's nearest.
Okay. And you're no longer frightened.
Hey,
Oh,
That'll hit and trigger your extra action, or your extra turn.
stabby.
sorry, it's me having to look at exactly what my things are.
Yep. So you're gonna do 2d6 extra damage, and then you get
Yes.
another entire turn.
Yes. Which is distinctly different than a round. So add 9 to my damage roll.
So 14 total. Okay. That will definitely send that one back to the corpse that spawned it.
Is there still one up? I don't think I
There,
can't really get to it.
there is the one over by Thagor that is very, very, very badly wounded, and then there's the one that's further away.
I don't know. Could I even take a shot at it without? Wait, do I? Can I take a shot without hitting anyone, or do I have to move?
I know you can take a shot. I assume you're just like, hey, down in front.
I mean, technically, even like a half step would be all I need. I just don't want to shit.
Is that a short joke?
I am a short joke.
Ah, it's you. All right, carry on.
You're allowed.
$18 is a hit.
All right.
Thagor is a statuesque dwarf. I will have you know, but 4'6", towering 4'6".
I I was at a wrestling show this weekend, and one of the matches was Robbie the Giant versus one of my friends. Robbie the Giant is in fact a dwarf, like worked on WWE as a dwarf, and let's just say he knows how to work the comedy of being short in a match.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Where do you live?
Western Mass, New England.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Ah,
I just don't know the indie scene out there.
It's fair.
You gotta respect people that are still using honest to God midgets.
I
So-
think that's AEW's claim to fame, isn't it?
All right, so one of these undead things is going to close with Bismarck.
I don't want to spend the spell, so I'll take it.
Only rolls a 4.
That's enough.
All right, next round, everybody can decide whether they're going to be fast or slow.
I think we're still going fast over here. I still got my dance partner.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Bismarck, Ruth, Sif, and Thagor.
All right, I'll finish this guy off, or try to anyway. Hey, there we go.
That is going to be way more than his 1 hit point.
Yep.
Nine more. Well, 8 more.
And then there's another d6 because of the forceful strike as well. Because you got the 20 or better, so.
Oh, excellent.
So yeah, 46 total.
All right, well he's done anyway. So
He
that's
he
good
is
enough for me.
very done. So again, as he dissipates, he basically gets sucked back into his body. So Bismarck, Ruth, and Sif.
Help.
I'm gonna shoot that guy that's on the right of my icon because he's by somebody all by themselves.
Yeah, he's trying to skewer your wizard.
And he's the only guy left.
Oh, so be crossbow six with a little prayer. Yes.
That is definitely a hit.
That is a terrible roll. But it's a hit.
Generally speaking, you guys can either hit or you can roll high for damage. You rarely get to do both.
Yeah.
Right, that leaves us with Sif and Bismarck.
I'm gonna shoot it. Or try to. Yeah, that was such a try to. So many arrows to retrieve.
So that will bring us to Bismarck.
I'm gonna try augmented attack. And fail miserably.
Okay. Well, it is going to try to skewer itself a clockwork.
Pick another wizard.
Once your robot soul.
That'll be it.
For 8 damage.
8 damage. Damn.
And that will bring us to Jinx.
I'm gonna take a shot at that one that's nice and far.
Okay.
Meh.
Not with an 11. Next round. This one seems to have Bismarck kind of pinned and is just like hacking at him with a sword. Not a lot of finesse. It seems to be more about raw power for this thing. Bismarck, Ruth, and Sif.
That's just I'll do the same as I did last time.
Okay.
Only this time I'm gonna do extra damage.
Here's hoping.
15 is a hit.
See, I did 2 extra damage.
So yeah, crossbow bolt kind of catches it in the back. It kind of like cricks its head around, kind of like almost like an owl. Its head just turns unnaturally.
Ugh. That's not good. It's still upright though.
Yes, it is.
Try to shoot it again. Oh,
Ooh,
24.
that is all of the damage.
All of the damage.
You were always meant to be an archer. Don't let anyone tell you different.
So that's what, 17?
Yes, 17. So as that arrow finds purchase, it sinks back into the body from which it's formed. But you do hear this kind of echoing voice that says, "You are worthy."
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Well,
I'm gonna go and collect my arrows now.
Okay.
Looking mildly creeped out.
Yeah, you can collect half of the ammo that you shot.
They don't normally tell.
I'll see if I can pick up any heraldry on these particular things.
Hey, Biz, if I pile these bastards up, you think you can burn them?
Certainly. Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
All right. I'll start dragging them into a pile.
I'll give him a hand.
I don't think we can do much more for them with the time we've got.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So yes, as you collect the bodies and burn them, you do feel a sense of peace kind of permeate through the area. You didn't realize that there was like an oppressive feeling before until it lifts. But yeah, as you're moving them around, they don't seem like they're not like any significant like part of an army or anything like that. It looks like it was probably like bandits and guards or something along those natures. Nothing of any note. Nothing that that Bismarck would recognize.
Okay.
And who has the armor? Ruth has the armor.
Yes.
So it is soft leather armor, which I think is what you've got now. So your defense stays the same.
Right.
But as you kind of don it, and you notice it doesn't make any noise, and you don't make any noise while you're moving, unless you choose to.
Because what we need is the person who doesn't leave tracks to not make noise.
That's right.
Well, we're gonna
You're
give
gonna
that. We're gonna give it to you anyway. It's just I'm wearing it now, so nobody has to carry it, and somebody gets the benefit from it.
You're gonna get kidnapped, and we'll have no fucking idea.
Where'd Ruth
Yeah.
go? Oh, we don't know. We can never hear him anyway.
Yeah, she's gone.
Must be dead. Oh well.
That's the armor's effect is you have to consciously choose to make noise while you're wearing it. Otherwise, you just
Okay.
don't make noise, and that includes like like if you get hit hard, and you like expel a breath, it makes no noise.
Nice.
Uh, you have to like consciously think to speak loud.
It's too bad we don't have a thief.
We do.
We do?
Have you met Jinx?
I thought Jinx was a warlock.
I'm a rogue with a little bit of warlock.
Oh, okay. Well, Jinx's
And a
armor's gonna be
scout.
great for you as soon as we get it sized.
It's the goblin of many talents.
And a warlock's a spell thief, so
So yeah, so you collect up the bodies, kind of put them to rest as best you can, and you do feel this sense of peace and this feeling that where these undead warriors seem to be tied to their bodies, they are now at rest.
That's good.
And
Nobody should have to endure living on like that.
Well, yes, Jesse, I agree completely. Yeah. Is anybody hurt?
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Oh, well,
I still have 1 damage left from the wolves.
this is just me. It's all right.
Well, clearly, it was like-
Protecting the wizard is a thing that it's important to make sure that I'm very small, I'm fragile, and yes, I'm new.
I was
and
taking
pretty-
2 of them. What do you want from me?
3 in this case.
I can heal somebody if somebody's hurt.
No, it'll be fine.
Bismarck needs his dents beaten out.
Can I
I-
even
Even those
heal?
magic wrenches are only good for yeeting, not fixing.
Can I even heal Bismarck?
Yes, when he's in this form, he is considered to be a living creature.
All right. Well, I'll cast a healing spell.
I mean, the other option is you can sit down with some tools and turn him back into an inanimate object and just actually repair him, but it takes 4 hours.
So Bismarck, you get half your healing rate back.
Oh, 2. That's great.
Ken, I was gonna say, we should get a sling for like one of those like baby carriers for Bismarck, so he can sleep.
You want
when
a
we're just
Bjorn?
traveling. Yeah. Or like that
Uh,
halfling backpack setup that
A robot
you know what I'm
Bjorn?
talking. Well, he's a little. I think he's. What he said about he's about 90 pounds, so Bjorn might be a little too small for him. But they've got like backpacks where they can like ride on your back. Be great for a halfling archer. I think that would work.
Yeah, Biz is actually smaller than Jinx, right? So
Yes, but you might be dent.
he's like 3 feet tall. So
I mean,
Yeah.
you're made of metal. I'm just made of meat.
well,
Very
he's
dense.
maybe a little heavier, but Chris, I'll use one of my 2 healing potions to heal my healing rate.
Okay. So yes, so you guys kind of police the scene, collect up some arrows. Those of you that fired arrows or bolts, you can collect back half of what you shot. Deal with the bodies. Continue on your way. The rest of your journey to Thorpe is uneventful. It's quiet. The trail is very obvious. And as you kind of like come through a little bit of the snowy woods, you see the wide spot on the road that is Thorpe. It's like 4 houses, all of it, very definitely a farming community. Not currently, obviously, but definitely you can see where the farms for each of these houses would be. It does sit on a lake. Partially iced over along the shoreline, but the water is deep enough that the lake itself is not frozen. Just like 6, 7, maybe 10 feet around the shore. and the tracks lead like right up to one of the houses. And in fact, you see a horse like outside in the pasture area.
Just
Hey.
one.
So, before we go in there, swords drawn,
Hmm.
there we have there's two possibilities. One is this is malicious and it's used to spread plague. The other is it's actually well intentioned and trying to heal.
Let's be real, though.
Which are we more likely to run into?
I know it was cited that he's a devotee of the old gods. Is there a way to does anyone know anything about if they're about healing from them, if or what to look for to see if he's actually trying to do that?
Sif
I'm
looks at Ruth.
initiate of the Old Faith.
Oh, maybe they got
I'm just a
crazy,
follower.
crazy totems or whatnot laying around.
I'm initiate of the Old Faith, a priest of the Horn King, and been initiated into the Druid mystery. Sorry. I don't, but that gives me, identify plants and animals, know if food, water is safe to consume, predict weather, move full speed across terrain, and only leave tracks when I choose. So none of that really helps.
It was worth asking.
Holy shit! I didn't know I had this.
Which
Oh, I get to heal. I can use it if I go slow. I can use an action to heal and still attack one time.
nice.
Yeah, I don't see anything that would tell me if they can. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to know if if he's legit or not. Um, however, I can't be diseased, so I think those of us who can't be diseased should be the ones to go in.
Yeah, I can't be diseased either.
I will gladly stand guard because I most certainly can be diseased, and I would greatly prefer not to be.
What about Bismarck? Bismarck, you should not be able to be diseased.
Nope.
No, you should be fine. I think he said earlier that he'd be fine. Well, Fregor, I think it's you and me again.
Yeah, we'll hold the line here.
Yeah, guard the exits. Guard the exits.
Yeah, that's us.
So Sip and Thagor are kind of like the rear guard, and the rest of you guys are approaching.
Yeah, sounds about
Essentially.
right.
So yeah, so you approach this this quaint little farmhouse. A little bit of smoke coming out of the chimney.
Knock on the door.
Yeah, Bismarck, you're the charismatic one, aren't you?
Really?
Those of you that are at the cabin can give me perception rolls.
In the knocking on the door, you mean?
Yep.
Natural 20.
Natural 7.
I got this, guys.
Guess it's better than an unnatural number.
So yeah, so Bismarck, as you're about to knock on the door, you can hear mumbling on the other side.
Can I tell what the mumbling is?
With that roll, yes, it sounds like it's very quiet. It's kind of hard to hear from the door, and you're like, shh, shh. And you're like, they should be here. The angel said that they would be cured. They should be here by now. It's been a day. Why aren't they here yet? And just kind of repeating over and over the same general thought, like, you know, they should be healed, they should be better, they should be okay. The angel said they would be okay. Why aren't they here yet? When are they coming? And just like on a continual loop almost.
Is a door a half-size object?
A door would be a size 1 object.
Okay. I will open the door.
When you open the door, you do see this this kind of like gaunt-ish looking man. Very definitely has like some sores on his hands that you can see. He kind of like jumps with a shout, and you can see like his eyes are just like wide and frantic.
These sores, you say? Would a medicine check say if he's infected?
He very much is.
Okay.
It's like, where are the children? The children should be here. They should be cured by now.
Well, yeah. But we're working on that, and so we need to get some information. We need to maybe everybody sit down, and maybe we could all have a conversation. You can tell me something informative that I could give to these other people, and we can fix the problem. So, can you sit down?
Give me a willpower roll.
Hey, he's not good at this.
Wait, did he say where are the children?
He said the children should be here. The children should be cured. The angels told me they'd be cured. Why aren't they here now?
Why aren't who here?
So Bismarck, as you start talking to him, he like kind of fixates on you and says, "Back, devil! The angels told me that devils would come to interrupt the work. Back! The children must be safe. The children must be cured. They should be okay by now. They should be here. Why aren't they here now?" And he just starts rambling off.
But
That sounds like the children aren't here. Where were the children last?
Give me a willpower roll.
Can we hear any of this, by the way, from outside?
Door's open.
You probably can't hear because he's literally like mumbling.
That's what I was wondering.
All right. So he kind of fixates on Jinx for a minute. He says, "I took them to the cave like the angels told me to. I took them to the cave where they're supposed to be healed, but they should be healed by now, but they're not here yet."
All right, it's time to track. I'll go outside. Sif, he took him to a cave,
Why?
and he's infected as hell.
Lovely. Why would he put them in a cave?
He's saying angels came to heal them. And they
Oh
should be
boy.
healed, and they should be back now.
Pixie
That's
devils it is then. Gotcha.
Obviously not true.
Well, you see any tracks?
Yeah, it's time for Sif and I to go
I'll
look
start-
for tracks.
Yeah, I'll start looking around again.
Give me a perception roll.
Boons?
Yes, you get 1 boon for being a tracker. Sif gets 2.
Well, now. Hey.
20, not bad.
Yeah, I think I rolled a natural 20.
Yep. All right. So yeah, the two of you start looking around, and you do see tracks that lead off towards the lake.
See if
So I'll go back inside.
See if you can
'cause
get any
we've
information
got,
about these angels.
we got the trail. Is there anything more we can get from this idiot?
Can you give me a moment to speak to this gentleman? Just one second.
Sure. I'll go back outside.
Is this guy a threat in any way, shape, or form?
Doesn't seem to be.
I
To
stab him
his
in the heart.
grandkids.
He's infected, so if we can't cure him, yes,
I
he's
kill
a
him.
threat.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously a threat to his grandchildren.
Niece and nephews.
Close enough.
Yeah, Biz will just take his tail, that new pigtail he has, and put it through his heart. And then he'll walk out and set the building on fire.
Wait, 1 second.
Burning up the infection.
It seems to me the most logical choice. We should make sure that all the buildings are cleared, and anyone infected, obviously, well, they probably should be.
Why don't you roll into another?
Unfortunately, exterminated.
As my
Alrighty. So roll a d20 for me, Bismarck.
Just a straight D20.
Just a straight d20.
That was a 4.
Okay. So good news, bad news.
Wow.
Bad news is you do pick up a point of corruption for cold-blooded murder.
have allegiance,
Valid.
you could
The,
mean
Yeah.
the good news is because you rolled a 4, there is no telltale sign of the corruption.
So I don't look corrupted.
Right.
It's not even a look. There's things on the corruption chart like milk curdles in your presence or newborn babies die.
Yeah,
Jesus.
some of it's bad. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was dying. Yeah, I get it. Robot logic.
that's 'cause you're
Robot logic.
But yes, there are a set of tracks that lead to the lake.
Yeah. Just following those pretty quickly. Being watchful about, since we're going toward the lake, about where the water starts. Because she would rather not end up under the ice.
So yes, so the tracks do lead around the lake, staying clear of the ice, and they lead to on the kind of the far side of the lake from the little thorp. There is a cave. So yeah, so this sits basically right on the shore. The water level is high enough for it to like just slightly trickle, and the cave is at looks like a steep slope into darkness. Around the edge of the cave, there are stalactites and stalagmites that are very like roughly hewn. And with the super high tracking rolls that you and Ruth both got, it looks like at the edge of the cave, like the tracks look like everybody is just walking along. But then at the mouth of the cave, it looks like there was a struggle.
Yeah, that makes sense because this looks like a Healy friendly happy cave where good things happen.
Right. Sif's going to pull out her longbow before she continues on.
I will cast
Right? I couldn't stop.
Spellbound Weapon.
Might want to get a light up as well.
I will also cast light on my spellbound weapon. Which is the tail, of course.
I'm going to cast Beast Within on myself so I can see in the dark.
Remember, Beast Within only lasts for a minute.
Oh, well, I'll wait and do that when it's time then.
So yeah, so as you kind of like look at the entrance to this cave, you can see that it slopes down at a fairly stiff, like a 45-degree angle. Like it is a steep slope, and where the mouth of the cave is at pretty much at the lake's level, there is like a little trickle of water that is frozen, making it exceedingly slippery and slick.
Does that 5 damage I took or absorbed with the bear spirit come back after the bear spirit's gone?
It doesn't absorb damage, it raises your maximum health.
Yes, but when it's over.
Yeah, so your health would go back down to 30, whatever it is.
Yeah. But
Does he lose? So say he went from 30 to 35 and he took 5 damage. Does he that when bear spirit goes away? Does he have 30 still, or does he have 25?
He still has 5 damage on you. Because you count up, right? So it just means that instead of becoming
Right.
incapacitated at 30, you become incapacitated at 35.
Okay.
Right. So he still has the damage he took,
Yes.
just with less health.
Well, I have one more cast available of that, so you're going to get it again if we run into trouble.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm good. But I would appreciate it. Yeah.
I'll cast Arcane Armor on myself as well.
I'm sure we'll run into, what is it, angels? Yeah, that'll be fun.
Since Arcane Shield can be a triggered action, I'm gonna hold off on casting it just yet. Yeah, no, I see how it works. I'm gonna hold off on getting it just yet, but I see how it works.
Arcane Armor only works on myself, or I'd put it on Vagor.
It can't be cast on anybody wearing armor, so.
I think it's only me anyway, so.
Not at this moment.
Yeah, I think so. All right. So yes. So as you guys start making your way down this little slope, you do notice that there are these little protrusions every yard or so where it looks like stalagmites or stalactites have broken off.
It's a very Oregon-looking map.
Mm-hmm. And there are bones covering this floor.
Yep, super healthy cave. Lots of healing happens
Oh.
here.
That's disturbing as hell. Oh.
So yeah, there are numerous bones. Some of them are human. Some of them Thagor identifies immediately as troglodyte. Some of them Sif and Ruth can identify as various livestock.
Good, they're equal opportunity.
And there is a very faint warm breeze emanating from deeper in the cave. A very like a warm kind of moist fetid smelling breeze.
Oh.
I
This
think
is so nasty.
Thago will probably take the lead at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sif is fashioning something to cover her mouth with. And her nose.
That's not a
She
bad
just
idea. We could all
Don't
take a
want to
moment and do
directly
that, probably.
breathe this in. No way.
Right? Thagor will mask up as well.
Thagor, give me an agility check.
Excellent. Come get me, damned beasties.
So Thagor is kind of going forward, and like I said, it is a very, very steep, like a 45-degree angle. And just as he's like, "Come get me, you damn beasties," his feet go out from under him on this ice-slicked rock, and he tumbles down the slope about 15 yards or so, getting banged and bruised along the way for 11 damage.
Oh boy.
Jesus.
Ouch. That's a lot of bumping and bruising.
Don't miss your agility rolls, guys.
Well,
I wouldn't have to make one, would I?
Uh, correct. Ruth does not have to make one because of her druid ability, and Bismarck doesn't have to make one because of his clockworkness.
I'm
Go
going to be
Tigers.
really embarrassed when I fail mine. I just want to put that out there.
Oh, I think we all are. Yeah.
Apparently, dwarves don't land on their feet.
No.
Dwarf tossing.
It's like, have you
They're
ever
not very good dancers either.
like stepped on your patio steps and there's just that very, very thin coating of ice?
Uh-huh. It's not his first concussion. He's fine.
He's
All right,
fine. This
so-
is why he wears armor.
I assume you want us to all make agility checks?
If you're making your way down, yes.
Yeah, I gotta go down.
If you're
Yeah.
letting Thagor just go down there by himself, then no.
No, I'm not letting him go down there by himself.
Should probably go with him.
I do tend to try to. I think it's stretching things too much to argue of does sneaky apply. So I'm not going to be a complete ass.
Oh, so bad.
I'll catch you, don't worry.
Hey, not bad.
Appreciate it.
Sif is also going to take 11 damage.
Ah! And down she goes.
I'm going down perfectly silent and leaving no tracks.
We'll
And
never
Bismarck's
hear you
just going
die.
Click, 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 click.
Hey, this will be the first graceful thing that my character has done in this game. So
Bismarck can just brace himself against everything all at once. As he ticks his way down.
He's a bit of a spider, right?
He's got like built-in ice picks.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jinx makes it down, no problem. Neither Bismarck nor Ruth need to roll. And as you, Thagor, you got down there first, so you would have had a chance to see it. These two chambers that branch off have a very kind of like soft phosphorescent mushroom kind of growing along the walls, with like branch-like fungi festooning the walls and hanging from the ceiling. And give me a perception roll. With one mate.
who's making that roll?
Thagor, since he's the first one down there.
Not today.
Okay.
I will wait for everyone else, and I'll be glad we didn't drink the water in town. Because it apparently flows out of here. Or into here. Does it flow out of here or into here?
Into.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
I don't want to go in the lungs. Terrible idea.
So yes, so this appears to be like two chambers that are split in the middle by a cave protrusion, and the walls are covered in this like mushroomy fungi type of thing with all these numerous branches everywhere. But now that everybody's down there, perception checks with one bane.
What do you make of this shit?
Even with dark sight?
Yes.
Okay. So
Would a little prayer help?
Maybe.
Meaning,
Sorry.
does it cancel out my bane?
Yes, it would. But it
No
is
bug killing.
Never mind.
it's one of those things like in Call of Cthulhu, and the game master says make a perception check. Do you really want to make it?
Well, I didn't.
So both Bismarck and no, not Bismarck. Bismarck succeeded and Jinx succeeded. And I'm still waiting for Sif.
Sorry, we were killing a bug. What do you need from me?
Perception check with a bane.
Oh. That's not good.
It's fine.
Oh, it won't be fine. Not at all fine.
So yes, as you guys are looking down into this room, and you see the fungus, and you see the kind of like branching tendrils of the fungus that are kind of covering the walls and the ceiling and everything. Sif and Jinx and Bismarck, you notice that those tendrils are moving.
Wait. Don't move.
Almost undulating. And both of you can have 2 free insanity.
Sure.
There's no way.
You got it
So-
free.
So my light is a celestial spell. It's not daylight, but it's a celestial spell. Is that affecting these things at all?
Doesn't seem to be.
Okay. Everything I see here is bad. I'm not sure the best way to proceed. These tendrils are going to kill you. Probably eat you.
Why don't you try lighting them on fire from here?
Tendrils?
Yeah. Look, there's one there, and it's undulating. It's moving around. It's bulbous.
I can't see in the
it's
dark, but lighting them on fire does sound like a fine plan.
It's always fire.
Most things die by fire. Kind of convenient that way.
Well, I mean, I could try. I mean, fire's not my thing. I'm more of a celestial healing.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Sure
All right.
are.
If
So
you
we
like
could
fire,
even
I
get
will
to,
try to light one of these things on fire and see if it kills all of us.
Yes.
I don't care if you use celestial fire or pixie dust or whatever you got there. Shake some out.
Burning beam.
So yeah, so you fire out this burning beam of light, and it does like some of the fungus burns away, and from behind you there is like this shuddering kind of popping sound. And you see this monstrous creature just pop out of the wall. It is
That's not right.
it is in fact horrifying. So
Oh yeah.
everybody can make a will save with one bane.
Is that a torso with a mouth going down through the center of it? Oh god, it is.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Oh.
And it
that's
is
horrible.
trailing a bunch of slime.
Sorry, you wanted what rolls?
Willpower roll with a bane.
How about a -3?
Oh,
Ruth is
I
gonna
can
-3.
top that.
Oh.
I rolled maximum bane and still got a 14.
Wow. You are unshakable.
I rolled maximum bane and won.
Oh dear god.
I think I passed.
you did. Alrighty. So, Sif and Jinx and Thagor all gain 1 insanity.
Uh-oh, that
Even
doesn't
with the
bode well
pass?
for me.
Okay.
Oh, the pass got one.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's worse if you didn't make it.
Bismarck and Ruth
Uh-oh.
gain 2. And worse yet, because Bismarck's negative, Bismarck turns into an object
Oh,
Russia.
Oh, Bismarck.
as his key winds down.
Did he just run?
performance
Jeez.
anxiety.
He
Do
got
you hear
scared,
Bismarck?
turned back into a teapot.
Yep. And people can decide if they would like to be fast or slow actions.
Oh dear. That's not even a question.
And yes, it seems like as soon as you like burnt things and like smoke started and everything, that's when this thing popped out of the wall.
I blame
Is
Thagor.
that I
It's fine, you're an object. Can't say shit about it.
I would if I could think I would.
All right. Ruth and Sif are both on fast actions.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to shoot it from away.
You do have, incidentally, everybody has a bane on all attack and challenge rolls because of the horrifying nature of the creature.
But I used to have 2 bane or 2 boons when I was shooting. Now I just have 1.
Just type in -1 and it'll do all the math for you.
Okay, because it doesn't add my boons.
Your boon from being a fighter and everything is already added in.
Okay.
I noticed mine rolls 1 extra 1, but then it rolls a -1. That's right.
All
Okay.
mine rolled was a d20.
Yep.
Okay.
You should have.
So you had me adding 2. for all of my other bow attacks.
Wasn't that perception?
We have
Yeah, your perception gets one. Yeah, because you're not a fighter, so you don't have to fight with anything. So you get one for your weapon training for being a warrior. And that's it.
Okay.
I would normally get 2, but I get -1 for the extra juice on the attack dice. Powerful attack.
But a 16 is a hit.
Oh, that was painfully bad damage.
Was it painfully bad? Oh.
It was painfully bad. Yes, very much so.
And I believe Ruth is casting Bear Spirit. Who are you casting it on?
Thagor.
Oh, great.
So yeah, so the big giant bear inhabits the little dwarf body.
Oh yeah, I forgot to add. Shake it off.
So that will take us to Bismarck, Jinx, and Thagor.
I'm a glorified chair, so
Yeah, somebody can wind you up. I got shit to deal with over here.
you sure do.
All right. So are there still the tendrils on the walls, or is it just the monster now?
Oh, the tendrils are still filling that kind of greenish chamber to your south. Still like all over the walls, all over the ceiling. Bismarck burnt some of them away, and that's when this thing popped out of the wall.
Right. Okay.
We just can't touch
and-
anything in this game.
And you do get your extra d6 as well. They're done for the forceful strike.
We will take it this time. Making it a 12.
I'm trying to figure out if I should wind up Bismarck this turn or attack. And
Yeah. This thing is like Thagor closes with the bear spirit pulsing through him and swings his hammer, hits it rather solidly, and it just kind of stands there like this solid block of muscle and teeth. Jinx is up.
on that inspiring note, sorry, I've been trying to decide what I'm doing because there's like 3 things that occur to me. One is to attack it. One is to wind up Bismarck. The other is to light a torch and try to set things on fire.
It's all you.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna try to do an attack.
Okay.
I have a boon and a bane, so it's just a straight roll.
18 is a hit. This thing does not.
And I don't get any of my none of my boons apply for damage at this point because it was neutralized by the thing, right?
Right. But yes, the thing does not seem terribly difficult to hit. Alrighty. Its turn.
Does that look right, Chris?
Yep. You don't have that on your picture? I thought I had to check it off to you. But maybe I didn't.
Doesn't seem to be. I just put it on there now.
Okay. Cool. Alright. So it is gonna reach out with like it's got like a meaty, like kind of like not claws, more like 3 large suckers on each of its meaty arms. This is gonna like kind of glom onto Thagor there. Only a 9.
Nah,
But as
do not want.
yeah, but basically it as it misses Thagor, it basically like near one of the like stalactite type things, and it just snaps it off like it's nothing. Then throws the remnants into its mouth and grinds them down into powder.
Oh shit.
That is the end of the round. In Dungeon World, that's what's known as foreshadowing future badness. Everybody can decide if they would like to be fast or slow.
While we're getting this combat round started, I need to actually go get my wrist brace, so I will be back before my turn.
Okay. So Ruth and Sif and Thagor.
I'm going to cast Spirit of Vengeance on this thing.
Okay.
So that avoids a bane.
Yep. And so whenever it does damage to somebody, it has to make a will roll, or it takes damage and is free.
That's correct.
Perfect.
Cool. Maybe it'll be too frightened to eat me.
Maybe.
Oh, I still got that bear spirit thing on, right?
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
That cancels out the bane. All right, cool.
So Sif and Thagor.
I'm gonna shoot it.
All right.
Ooh,
Thagor.
is 20 enough, or
Nice.
does it have to be over 20?
It's you have to roll 20 or better and 5 more than what you needed. So you do succeed. You get the extra d6 damage.
Sweet. Nice. Swinging for the fences.
And Sif, you were letting loose with another arrow.
Yep. I was sorry with one bane.
Unless Ruth wants to throw a prayer your way.
I wouldn't mind.
I would
I can only
definitely
do one
like
around,
that.
right?
Yes, it resets at the start of the turn.
So,
If you save it for yourself, that's fine.
No, I already used my roll, so you get it.
Okay.
Yep. So those will cancel out.
25.
25 is a hit, and you get all of the damage.
Nice. And 17.
That's a good roll.
Yeah.
All right. And with a mighty Warhammer blow from Thagor and a arrow into the parts of this creature, it drops, and it gets absorbed back into the floor of the cave.
Oh, that's nasty.
As
You
long
say
as
that
it's
from
gone.
back there. You don't have to be over here.
Are any of my arrows retrievable?
Half of them.
Oh dear. Oh,
Anyone need a
Okay.
bit of a healing?
I could do with or without. I think we need to
Wait,
wind Bismarck back up.
I'll get it. It's fine. You get your
Alright.
arrows.
So go and fetch your arrow.
Okay, you get half your healing back. So
Cool. Oh,
half your healing rates back.
thank you.
Crank, crank, crank.
So Thagor cranks Bismarck back up onto into life. Ruth calls upon her god and sifts little scrapes and everything from sliding halfway down this cave. Heal up. It dawns on
And
you
he's
that
gonna-
this creature that was spawned seemed to spawn in direct response to Bismarck damaging elements of the cave.
Any sign of the children?
Not here.
Are you awake, you little spring-loaded monster?
Well, yes, I was just saying that
Yeah,
particular
there we
those rooms that we were looking forward to explore.
Yeah, everybody got
and they're very
displaced.
dangerous for people that breathe, and there's tendrils and
And mouthy face monsters jumping out of the walls. Just FYI.
Most of us don't sleep when we're under attack in our defense.
well, I mean, we would rate the amount of time that you spend sleeping. That's the amount of time that I spend sleeping. I think that statistically speaking, it would be.
Are we really arguing
When there's
with
no
this when the
monster.
children are still missing?
Let's see if we can find our way through here.
Yes, let's.
Is
No
there any
tracks for
chance
children?
is there any chance of finding a way through that doesn't lead through tangly, fungusy ass nonsense?
But the fungus is basically just like along the walls and along the ceiling.
Well, it's probably best to not touch anything and just be circumspect as we travel from one place to the next.
You don't say.
Well, that's my expertise, but I could be wrong. It happens.
So as Thagor walks into the room, which direction would he like to go?
The one with least grabby tentacles.
You can't really tell. Like they're almost like a vine network all along the walls and the ceiling.
Right, I will avoid the walls and ceiling as much as possible.
You go to the left or to the right?
I go left. That's what Papa Gygax told me to.
Are you guys letting Thagor go in by himself to see what happens?
No, I'm going with them because I
No.
don't slip.
Sif is trailing along behind, trying to pick her way carefully.
Okay.
Can I use the flail to help, I don't know, catch me before I slide down something else nasty?
Well, there's no. It's not slanted anymore. Like you guys slid down and hit the
Oh.
bottom, and
All
then
right.
it kind of leveled out.
Good news, we've already hit rock bottom.
For this stage.
Yep, we have.
So as you guys make your way into this this phosphorescent tunnel cavern, you can see now. You clearly see in the phosphorescent light the tendrils moving of their own volition. And as you're taking a look around, there's none of these on the floor. It's on the walls and on the ceiling. So you're like, okay, let's stay away from the walls. Let's stay away from the ceiling. And then you hear a popping noise as the mushrooms along the wall release a bunch of spores into the air as part of a chain reaction. All of you except for Bismarck instinctively hold your breath. But rather than forming into a cloud throughout the chamber, they start to coalesce into a 9-foot tall humanoid-ish figure. And since it's 11 o'clock, we'll call game there.
Oh,
Oh,
son of
no.
a bitch.
And I was
Oh no.
That was fun.
All right.
We got to get you running Call of Cthulhu sometime, Chris.
That cave system is mighty freaking gross.
Chris
Reminds me of
doesn't need the
valley
help.
pit I did once.
I do not look forward to going down there.
I don't know who came up with this map, but
and
they should be
it
shot.
would amazing.
Hey, could be worse. The walls could be breathing.
I think they are.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be moving.
Actually, as Jinx says that, you feel that warm, moist breath again.
That was out
Yeah.
of character, but sure.
I mean, we did feel that right at the beginning. That was the whole. I'd like something over my mouth and nose. I don't want to directly breathe this
Yep.
stuff in.
It reminds me of the demiplane that is. What was it, Chris? Vecna's dead ex-wife or something like that.
Oh, the Nightmare Keep module, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
I know there's a D&D module, and it's
Oh, God.
a pretty nasty module where one of the dungeons that you go into is the body of a long dead lich.
Yeah, there's much effluvia to be found.
Yeah, that's
One point when I was AVSTing for Sabat, I wrote up a Bali pit that this is reminiscent of.
yay, Bali pits.
These are all nuts. Nobody thinks of it.
Look, I didn't learn until I was running a Call of Cthulhu game that it's not normal to wake up from dreams screaming, so
Oh, yeah.
my sense of normal's a bit weird.
Mine too, but I mean, there's gauges of weird, right?
I was
Yes.
literally doing this scene and everyone kind of like was they're like, "How do you know what that's like?" And I'm like, doesn't everyone?
Doesn't everyone know?
Thank